Tonight is the night that we put all the madness to bed. Tonight is the night that we will crown a national champion in men's basketball. And two blue bloods going at it. North Carolina and Kansas. North Carolina, the 8 seed, Kansas, the 1 seed, playing for a national championship tonight in New Orleans. Last night, we had the women's national championship game in Minneapolis. And the South Carolina Gamecocks helped the SEC add another national championship to its resume with a 64-49 win over UConn in the national championship game. So South Carolina celebrating the school's second ever national championship with a win last night. It's the 12th time that a wire-to-wire AP team that was number one went on to win the national championship. The first since UConn did it back in 2015, 2016. Of course, South Carolina number one from wire-to-wire this year. So the Gamecocks get it done. We're going to preview this national championship game here in a little bit. Obviously, we mentioned it is the blue bloods of blue bloods for college basketball. We're going to break down Alabama's scrimmage from over the weekend. Auburn's Walker Kessler captures a big-time honor, then makes his future known. Alabama has a player make their future known as well on the hardwood. We'll break all of that down. Plus, we'll recap another busy weekend of SEC baseball. And the SEC West is a complete logjam. We'll go over all of those standings here in just a little bit. But as always, though, the show is open to you, 256-576-4977. That is the number to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. We want to hear from you on this Monday morning. So we get a national champion tonight in college basketball, Kansas and North Carolina. As we mentioned, both are no strangers to the Final Four, both no strangers to the national championship game. For Kansas, it was their 16th Final Four appearance on Saturday. They are in the championship game for the 10th time in school history as Kansas. Now, they did win national championships in 52, 88, and 2008. That is the last national championship for the Kansas Jayhawks. And North Carolina, obviously, we know they have been there. This was their 21st, a record 21st Final Four appearance. That was tipped off on Saturday when they got by Duke. They are trying to win their 7th national championship tonight. If they are able to do that, it would be number 7. North Carolina has won national championships in 1957, 1982, 93, 2005, 2009, and most recently in 2017. Now, Kansas comes into this one winners of 10 straight games. Carolina 9-1. So 6 of Kansas's last 10 games have hit the under if you're looking at putting a little bit of money down on tonight's game. North Carolina has gone over in 6 of its last 10 games. In case you are looking at putting some money on tonight's national championship game. If you are looking to put some money on the game. Now, Kansas does come in tonight a 4-point favorite in tonight's national championship game. So there you go. 256-576-4977. That's the number of the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. They are favored between, it depends on what book you look at. 4.5 points is kind of where it's at. But that could tip back a half a point before tip-off, given that the Tar Heels are on a streak. So if you get in now, you probably get in at 4.5. But if you wait till closer to tip-off, it's probably going to be a 3.5 point spread. So it's up to you. if that's what you're going to get in on tonight.
Yep, it's going to be a heck of a matchup. North Carolina is hot as any team in the country. I don't think anyone, when the tournament started 3 weeks ago, that's what makes it a beautiful event, saw them being in the national championship game, but they've gotten hot at the right time. They're playing with outstanding chemistry. They outplayed a really talented Duke team on Saturday to end the tenure of the greatest college basketball coach in history.
That was a phenomenal, one of the best basketball games on Saturday that I have seen in a long time, that Carolina-Duke game.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a Duke fan.
It lived up to the hype.
And certainly I am. It was the only. I certainly live up to the hype. I give both teams credit for playing really well. Disappointed that Duke didn't make a few more free throws. I think if they had, they could have won the game. But Carolina's guards, led by Caleb Love, played exceptional basketball and outplayed Duke's. Off the bench, Trevor Keels played really well. But Jeremy Roach did not play at the level that he had played up to the Final Four. Did not shoot it the way he had been shooting it, and I think also Wendell Moore Jr. struggled some. Paolo Banchero played really well, but the real key, and Coach K talked about it after the game, was that North Carolina got Mark Williams in foul trouble. Mark Williams had been an outstanding defensive presence, had been able to score the ball. And he was scoring the ball early against Carolina, but he got 3 fouls.
Yeah.
Pretty early in the second half. Got 2 early in the first half and missed the last 15 minutes. Theo John played the majority of the first half and got 4 fouls. So they just weren't able to, defend without fouling. And then they didn't make free throws down the stretch. It kind of reminded me of the way Alabama lost to UCLA in the Sweet 16 the year before, where if Alabama had made free throws, I believe they would have won the game against the Bruins, but they did not. And the Bruins went on to the Final Four and nearly the national championship game. But again, Carolina earned the game. They won it. Even though he fouled out, Baycott made his presence felt. 11 points, 21 rebounds. And
I was amazed, though, that Carolina in the second half only went to the bench once, and that was because someone got hurt.
It was because Baycott hurt his ankle.
I was amazed. I was like, I wasn't even paying attention to that at all. Didn't even dawn on me that North Carolina didn't even go to the bench at all, and they would not have gone to the bench at all, I don't think, in the second half at all, which was...
They'd haven't because they've really shortened their rotation severely. And another thing, except for Baycott, who fouled out with a few minutes left, Duke did not get Carolina in big-time foul trouble because if they had, they would have had to go to some of those guys. And then Manick made some big threes, especially when Duke had kind of persevered to get a 71-70 lead, and he made a big one from the wing to make it 73-71. It was just a great game.
It was a great game to watch. Because that first one, the Kansas-Villanova game, was
a snoozer.
And that one was like, let's hope the second one is not that way.
It was a snoozer because of how well Kansas played. Kansas is not a great three-point shooting team, but Obagi was on fire early, and then the whole team really shot it well from 3. When Kansas makes double-digit threes with as talented as they are, they're going to be very difficult to beat. And so that'll be one of the keys tonight against North Carolina. Are they going to shoot it like they did against Villanova? Now, the one thing Kansas had is a huge advantage size-wise against Villanova. Now, they're not going to have that against North Carolina. North Carolina is a huge basketball team, and I'm talking about all 5 spots. So the length and athleticism is much better. So we'll see if they can still do it. I still like Kansas in the game, like 80-76. I think it's going to be another classic. But I do think Carolina is very capable of winning it all. They're not playing like an 8 seed. See, I don't put a lot of stock in that once you get to the Sweet 16, what seed you are.
Right.
I put across what the jersey says on it, and it says North Carolina, and they have that kind of talent. Just like last year, UCLA was in 11 when they put Alabama out there at UCLA. So North Carolina's playing exceptional basketball. I got to give Hubert Davis a ton of credit for staying the course and his team improving as the year went on. And that's why basketball is so unique and why I love the sport, because you think about it, and there were some people I was debating with this weekend about Walker Kessler, and they were talking about how, man, Walker Kessler must be bummed that, and salty that he's not playing for a national championship or that his former school is playing for a title. And here's the way I look at it. if Walker Kessler's at North Carolina, and he should be if Roy Williams had handled it properly, but if he was, Manick might not be in the same role. The chemistry might not be the same.
Right.
And really both parties benefited because they brought in Manick. They brought in, some other pieces. Baycott stayed and became a stud. Maybe really
there's no way to predict what would have happened.
Yeah, and then
if
Kessler made the best decision for himself because dude became National Defensive Player of the Year. You already talked about it at the start of the show. He was a consensus All-American, and then he ends up, making his decision on his future. But he's really, Scott, we've kind of been talking about this throughout the tournament. You look at all the mock drafts; he's a first-round pick. He wasn't even on the radar last year.
Yeah,
and so he made the best decision for himself. Both parties benefited.
So, in case you're wondering, as far as you bring up 8 seeds and 1 seeds and all that other stuff. So Kansas going in tonight as a number 1 seed. Mm-hmm. Number 1 seeds have been in 59 Final Fours, going back to 1985 when they expanded to 64 teams. The championship game, we've had 36 number 1 seeds in a championship game. 23 have been crowned national champions. There have only been 5 8 seeds make it to the Final Four. 3 8 seeds have played in the championship game, and only 1 8 seed has ever won a national championship game.
And that, ironically, was the first year they expanded. We've talked about it already. The perfect game played by Rolly Massimino, Ed Pinckney, McLean, and all those guys from Villanova.
So there you have it. Only 1 8 seed has ever won.
Beating Georgetown.
The national championship
Who beat them
game.
twice like a mule in the regular season. But that's why basketball is a beautiful game, because you never know what's going to happen. North Carolina may go out tonight and play awesome and win it. Kansas may do the same thing. Remember last year, Baylor and Gonzaga played. Gonzaga was an undefeated team.
Yeah.
They looked like a team of destiny. But Baylor played their absolute best game at the best time and blew them out and blew them off the floor.
Do we see that tonight, though? Do we see Kansas?
I
Kansas,
can't.
I mean, this North Carolina
run
has been
Kansas
good.
played against Villanova, and I know North Carolina spent a bunch of emotion against the Blue Devils. I don't see it being a blowout, man. North Carolina's playing too good. Kansas is playing great, too, because they've got Remy Martin back. And Remy, by the way, did not play great the other night. I mean, they didn't – as well as Kansas played, there was 2 or 3 of their guys that didn't play great, okay? So they can actually play better basketball. I think it's going to be a great game. I think it's going to come down to the last 2 or 3 minutes. At least I hope so. I mean, I would love to see another Villanova-North Carolina finish, except Kansas hitting a buzzer shot to win, because I'm sure as hell not rooting for North Carolina. I think everybody understands that. So, but again, I give Carolina a lot of credit. I respect their program, and they certainly were the better team. They outplayed Duke the other night, but I think Kansas is the better team. But I think these are both outstanding teams.
At this point, man, I just want to see Carolina finish it. I mean, they've gone this far, an 8 seed. Let's finish it. Let's make some more history. Let's just create a little bit more madness in this NCAA tournament. So in New Orleans, they do all the awards. They do all the awards presentations, kind of like college football, where they host an awards banquet. And as you mentioned, Walker Kessler wins the Naismith Defensive Player of the Year.
Well deserved. And
because this season his block ratio was a 19.1% of individual block rate, the highest since Sports Reference really started recording that stat. He recorded the second and third triple-doubles in program history with both points, rebounds, and blocks. He averaged 4.5 blocks a game, did Walker Kessler. But then we thought, well, maybe he's coming back a little bit. Maybe he's going to the NBA, kind of leaning both ways a little bit. But then he says, I am going to the NBA. I'm going to hire an agent. I am officially done with my collegiate career of playing college basketball. So Walker Kessler off to the NBA, where the NBA right now loves big guys that can do a little bit of everything.
They're like Sasquatches, man. You can't find them.
Right.
And so with the year he had, 11 points, 8 rebounds, 4.5, 5 blocks a game, you just can't. it couldn't have gone any better. Okay, they win the SEC regular season. They had a better regular season than North Carolina, a much better regular season than North Carolina. But that's not how it's defined. You're still going to get a ring for winning the conference, and you should, but you make your bones in March. Okay, and unfortunately, Auburn ran into a hot Miami team and went home in the round of 32. But they were still a great basketball team throughout the majority of the season. At one time, you and I were in agreement. I think they were the best team in America during the regular season. They're ranked number one for the first time ever.
They were playing that way.
They were playing
at one
awesome.
point.
They were,
and then in other times they weren't playing like a top 10 team.
But I think Kessler was a huge part of that, of the impact that he made, and he's going to be a first rounder because rim protectors are hard to find, 7-footers are hard to find that can play. And he even has some perimeter skills too. So I still think Walker Kessler's best basketball is ahead of him. He found himself at Auburn and got back on track. And I think he'll be, and he'll probably have a chance, Scott. The way the draft works, I think he'll go somewhere in between 10 and 25, which means he may go to a pretty good basketball team. And he could be, a playoff contender's piece to really help them defensively. So I think he's making the right decision, no question about it. Every mock that I've seen has him going in round one. Now, his teammate has not made his decision, but we all know what that one will be. Jabari Smith, he's going to be a top 3 pick, maybe number 1. We'll see. But both of those guys are going to move on to the NBA, and I think they're both making the right decision.
So Walker Kessler going to the NBA. Jabari Smith, we know he'll head to the NBA. So Auburn loses 2 right now to the NBA draft. Alabama loses 1 yesterday to the NBA draft in Jaden Shackelford.
Yeah, and if everybody's listened to me, he was not one of my guys I said was returning. I said he was a wild card. The 5 guys that I've had returning to Alabama, Noah Gurley, Jawan Gary, D. Miles, Darius Miles, Namari Burnett, who missed the season with an ACL, and Charles Bediako. That's the 5 guys that I've been looking for to return to Alabama. Jaden Shackelford, I didn't think he would transfer to another school because you remember the point I made. I don't know if there's another school or another coach that would give the offensive freedom to Jaden Shackelford that he had at Alabama. And Shackelford kind of is what he is. And what I mean by that is he ain't going to grow 2 or 3 inches. He ain't going to get that much quicker.
Right.
I don't think he's going to improve his ball handling that much. So in other words, another year of college basketball, while I think it could have benefited him to finish his degree and, of course, move up the record books at Alabama, I'm not sure he would have enhanced his value that much more, and so he's moving on. Do I think he'll get drafted? No, and I don't mean that disrespectfully. I just don't see his game translating to the NBA, but I see him playing overseas for a long time, which you can still make good money if you get in that situation.
Yeah.
So he decided to move on. I'm not surprised he did, and I don't think he'll be the last one. I think this week at some point would be my guess. J.D. Davidson will make his intentions known. And as we talked about last week, Nate Oates was on the field of 68 with Jeff Goodman and those guys in New Orleans, and he expects J.D. to move on, really expects him to stay in the draft, and I do too. So, and then with Javon Quinterly, I know someone pointed out to me on his Instagram that he took down that statement of playing his last college basketball game. I still think that he's going to move on. We'll see. But again, his age plays a lot into it. He's going to be 24 years old. He's graduating in May, so he's going to have a degree from Alabama in his hands. So, and his brother has gone into the transfer portal. So, could JQ change his mind? Yes, because he really hasn't announced anything officially. I mean, I'll throw something out there. Could he even decide to play for Shaheen Holloway at Seton Hall and go home for a year? Potentially, but I still think when it's all said and done, JQ likely moves on to the NBA. And now Alabama has got 3 spots, in my opinion, for transfer portal guys, and I think he'll have 8 new players on their roster.
And that's the thing. I think people, when they see all this news, and they see people leaving from Alabama, or they see people leaving from Auburn, or wherever it is, whatever school, you instantly start to think that there is something wrong with the program because people are leaving. But this is the day and age of college basketball
It's
now
new.
where this is going to happen.
Yep.
This is going to happen every single year, no matter who the coach is, no matter what it is, no matter how good you are, no matter what's going on. Guys are going to leave programs now because it's the day and age of college basketball where, one, if you're not happy with your minutes, and it really looks like it's more in college basketball, but I'm sure if we did the numbers percentage-wise, it's probably the same as college football. We just don't talk about all of the guys on every team that leaves college football. But basketball, you have so fewer numbers that it looks like it's way more. But this is going to happen because if guys don't play the X amount of minutes that they think, they're going to find a new school. Guys that think that they're better than they really are, they're going to try to go to the NBA, where chances are they're probably going to end up in the D League or the whatever it's called
G
now.
League, yeah.
More often than not. So this happens way more now in college basketball than we've ever seen. It's not a reflection, though, lots of times of the program that's going on. And I know a lot of people look at it and say, well, Nate Oates was good, but he's losing all these players.
Well, he's recruited a lot of great players too, and so is Bruce Pearl. I mean, look at Bruce Pearl. Last year in 20, Auburn had a losing record. He shaped his team in the transfer portal, and they became the best team in the SEC. So, and even he has lost players to transfer as well. Desmond Cambridge, we already talked about that. He goes with his brother to play for Bobby Hurley with Arizona State. But honestly, Auburn's still got tons coming back on the perimeter. Okay, that's not going to be the problem. Auburn and they've also signed another point guard who's going to be a really good player out of the state of Florida. So the perimeter game will still be a strength of the Tigers if their guards work on their games a little bit and get a little bit more consistent. And they've already brought in Traore too, the 5-star center, who basically is going to replace Walker Kessler. Now, you can't replace Jabari Smith. I mean, he's a freak. I mean, he's one of the best players in Auburn history. Is so skilled. So we'll see, what Auburn does to kind of tweak their. I mean, remember, they've still got Jalen Williams coming back too. Now, Jalen Williams is a very good player and played very well in the NCAA tournament. And as Jason Caldwell, who joins us frequently and does an outstanding job, has said, Jalen Williams could start for the majority of the SEC schools. So he will be back and have a chance to reestablish his role. And Alan Flanagan, the injury kind of threw him for a loop, and he was never able to kind of get his footing this year. He certainly should next year. And so I think Auburn will still have a really good basketball team. And so, and I think Alabama's going to retool. I'd watch Mark Sears in the transfer portal. They still brought in Jalen Llewellyn from Princeton. We'll see how that goes. So Nate Oates basically, went on the record on the field of 68 and said, we're in the mix for some really good transfers. We feel like we're going to be good, really good next year. And so I think Alabama and Auburn will both be very, very good. And again, you're going to have to I thought it was some really interesting stuff Coach David Six said to us on Saturday at University Key about Kentucky and about, Calipari needing to retool, and there's some uncertainty at Kentucky. And then with Oscar Tshiebwe, who is not a prototypical, let's say, NBA prospect, even though he's National Player of the Year, because he's a below-the-rim player. He's a dude that is just not a superb athlete. If he was, with the numbers he was putting up, he would be the first pick. But he's not considered a guy that's a lock to go in the first round. And because of his situation of not being a U.S. citizen, though, he can't cash in on what Coach Sis said could be as much as $5 million in NIL money. So they're trying to work that out, potentially to bring Tshiebwe, back to Kentucky, which would be huge for the SEC and huge for the Wildcats. So we'll see. But, I mean, it's one of those things where really this Kentucky team only had one player in Ty Washington who is expected to be a one-and-done and move on to the NBA. And so the way Kentucky reacts, and according to Coach Sisk, they're also going to be very active in the portal again. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, every SEC school, let's just be honest with you, man, you better start having a piece of paper and being able to write coming and going, because every squad is going to have dudes that bail out.
Yep. All right, it is 7:26. Let's get that first break in. When we come back, we will go to the phone lines and take your phone calls here on our Monday edition of Talkin Ball.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Working to clear a couple of wrecks on 565. On the eastbound side, one at County Line had 5 vehicles involved. Also one near the Space and Rocket Center reported with injuries, but they canceled HIMSY. Had a truck hauling chickens that overturned southbound 157 in the Danville area. They've got southbound blocked completely. 2030 Fast Track can make your clothes fall off. Allison lost 100 pounds in 7 months on the plan. A free hormone quiz will tell you if the program can work for you. 2030huntsville.com. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
That's the sound of a crack in the ceiling found at a home inspection. But with a Realtor by your side, a newfound leak might only cause minor worries. With their expertise, a Realtor can suggest a credit at closing and even connect you to a contractor to help you shore up that leak and alleviate your worries. When it comes to cracks in your plans, the expertise of a Realtor can make all the difference. The difference between an agent and a Realtor is real. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
At Gibson's Barbecue, they're celebrating 66 years in business. And to show you how much they appreciate you, every Monday and Tuesday through the end of April, they'd like to give you a free slice of pie with the purchase of any meat-topped potato, meat-topped salad, and lunch or dinner plate. A free slice of delicious Gibson's pie. 66 years of serving Huntsville the best breakfast around and best barbecue to ever cross your lips. Come help them celebrate their 66th anniversary at Gibson's Barbecue, 3319 South Parkway, a Huntsville tradition since 1956.
Hi everybody, Eli Gold here. Right now, indoor air quality occupies top-of-mind awareness for families and business owners. Rick Smith and the trusted professionals at Environmental Comfort Systems can take care of your indoor air quality concerns with their state-of-the-art indoor air quality solutions. Environmental Comfort's indoor air quality systems remove 99.9% of airborne contaminants so you and your family can breathe clean, fresh air. If anyone in your family suffers from allergies, or if you just want the security of knowing the air you breathe inside your home is free from viruses, bacteria, pet dander, dust, and odors, Environmental Comfort Systems are the professionals to call. Environmental Comfort also carries state-of-the-art, high-efficiency comfort systems that increase home comfort, keep humidity in check, and help you save money on your energy bills. Give my friend Rick a call or visit them online at envcomfort.com and breathe cleaner air today. Environmental Comfort Systems, Alabama license number 92314.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
The PGA Tour's Korn Ferry Tour is coming to the Rocket City. Join us at the Ledges for the Huntsville Championship, April 29th through May 2nd. Experience the beauty and drama of the course firsthand. Witness golf's rising stars chase their PGA Tour dreams. Cheer on the future of golf up close and personal. Tickets are on sale now at HuntsvilleChampionship.com.
All the press conferences.
It's our mental energy. I would say spend less time complaining about, when I was going to get an opportunity. Just spend more time training and working towards.
Plus, all of the rat poison is served up right here.
It's yummy.
On 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Coming up next, it's the Tom Abraham Show with me, Tom Abraham. Now back to more Talkin Ball with Scott and Drew.
And just like that, we do return with Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone in Huntsville, 7:31 on this Monday morning. Safe travels into work, into school, wherever you may be headed on this Monday. We've kind of got you set. We've set the stage for tonight's national championship game, Kansas, North Carolina. That coming in the Caesars Superdome. Let's go out to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. It is open for you this morning, 256-576-4977. Brandon up with us on a Monday. Good morning, Brandon.
Good Monday, gentlemen.
Good morning, sir.
That game, the first one for Kansas, I told my wife, I said, we'll leave and go eat at halftime. She said, okay. A couple minutes later, I walked in there and told her, I said, we can get in the car. She looked at me and she said, we're leaving now. I said, yes, game's over. She said, over? It just started. I said, no, it's over. I said, it's by far over. And I texted Drew and I said, man, they got on that head and just couldn't get them off. Villanova kept scrapping, but it was just, when did Kansas want to turn it back on and go back out there and stretch the lead out 15-20 over and over in that game? And that game was very disappointing. But, boy, in that second game, did I get my money's worth out of that one. That's one of the best games I've seen in a long time. I think that might be as good of a game in regulation as I saw in '96 when Arizona and Kentucky went into that wild overtime they went into. It was that good. But when Baycott, I think he got a couple of cheap fouls. You said it got Williams into foul trouble.
Yeah.
He would step back with his left foot and have the defenders that foot crossed up between him, and they called a foul on that once, maybe twice. But when that guy's foot's on the ground, I don't understand why they're calling a foul on that. Maybe my basketball IQ is not high enough. But when you step around somebody and then turn to go around them, and they're wanting to call a foul and saying you're occupying their space, well, you step back on that man. It's just like when defenders jump up in the air and the guy with the ball jumps up and jumps into him on purpose. That's initiated on the offensive player. They got to clean that up. That's garbage. If you jump into somebody on purpose, that's on you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that has been one of the biggest. That's why a lot of people don't like watching the NBA, is because of that move right there. And that is a move that has carried down from the NBA. It's a move that is in college basketball, and it's a tough decision to have to call if you're a referee. What do you do?
Yeah, because I feel like that changed the game a little bit for what with Duke, because Duke was abusing that rim, getting in there and jamming that ball in.
Oh, yeah, they were early.
And I feel if Big Man had got in foul trouble, physically, that would have been a different ball game. And I know you hate to say that a couple of small calls like that really change the game, but it does. I mean, I know people want to say, oh, there's enough basketball from that point on that you should be able to overcome it. But I felt like that was what Duke wanted to do in that ball game, was get physical and get in there and abuse that rim, and it was working a lot until he got in foul trouble. And, guys, I'll leave you with this, and I know Drew's going to enjoy this. Per Josh Pate, Texas A&M signed more five-star players in 2022 than the entire Big Ten and twice as many as the entire ACC. And I'm sure that all those kids grew up knowing what a Texas A&M Aggie was. Roll Tide.
Welcome to NIL deals. That's all you can say about that one. All right, let's go to the Neighbors. Let's stay on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Richard's with us this morning. Good morning, Richard.
Morning, guys. Guys, you were talking about the transfer portal. I think last year there were over 1,700, players that went into the portal, and I think you have 365, or give or take, Division I teams. So you're talking over 4 a team.
Yeah.
Out. So it's not uncommon at all nowadays when you're averaging 4 per team, and then you have 2 teams this year, LSU, and it's kind of funny, LSU and LSU coaches from Murray State, but both teams have lost every player from last year. They have no returning players on LSU and no returning players on Murray State. 0.
Yeah, it's mind-blowing, but that is, in the last couple of years, we've seen that trend in college basketball where that happens. You're still going to find people that are surprised, but if you followed college basketball over the last 2 years, this is the trend that's developed.
Yeah, and like you were talking about, is it a problem? But a lot of these teams, too, meet with the players at the end of the year and go, you could stay on the team, but you're not going to play. And that's why, and Drew knows, but 2 of the Alabama players basically had 0 minutes.
Yeah.
Give or take this year. So, their options were, I guess to to not play next year or transfer to somewhere, probably, a lower level to where you can actually, get some minutes out. And that's, a lot of these guys, like you were talking about, a lot of these guys are, looking for playing time.
Yeah, they really are. And Keon Ambrose Hilton is one of those guys, and Galax Chiku for Alabama. They're looking for playing time, and that's going to happen at just about every school. I mean, a former Alabama player already, Javian Davis, has left Mississippi State and cut his list to several mid-major schools, which is probably where he should have ended up in the beginning. But that's just the way it is in college basketball, and and it's going to be that way every year. And you're gonna have new rosters, and then with coaching changes, like with Matt McMahon going from Murray State to LSU, and from Will Wade, Western Union himself getting fired. That's why you see two rosters in LSU and Murray State completely being, out the door because coaches leave.
One thing on the transfer portal is, a lot of players transferred last year. Are they limited and have to sit out this year, or is it, the NCAA going to kind of do like before and just, kind of bury their head in the sand? Is that the rule? Or is it a one time, or is it, open to, to transfer again this year? You've had a lot, especially a lot of the LSU guys, like Pinson.
Yeah.
Transferred from Missouri to, LSU this last year.
What I would watch for, Richard, is especially in a guy like Pinson's case, I bet you if you go and look at it, he's graduating.
Yeah, and I've seen he's talking about going back to Missouri.
Oh, wow. Now that would be something, to go back to where you came from, except play for another coach. I mean, how crazy is that? Just get your jersey back and play for Missouri yet again, because you decided you didn't like Kwanzaa, so you go and play within the league at LSU, get paid by Will Wade, because that's exactly what happened, and then turn around and then go back to Missouri. That's pretty crazy.
I don't think I've seen that. I don't think we've seen that
ever,
even on the football level, have we?
But I mean, no. But I mean,
where
it's
a guy
a new
left,
world.
went back. That's what I'm saying. That I mean,
we've seen him go to junior college and then come back to a school, but we haven't seen him on the Division I level do that. Where, especially within the same conference. So
somebody playing like at Alabama transfers to Georgia to play for a couple of years.
This kind of reminds me of Quan Four, who played at our city and was one of our great players, who went on to Richmond and had an outstanding career, and then finished at Louisville for Rick Pitino, and and played for the Cardinals. He played at three different high schools in the Huntsville. So
well, I mean, think about. Marvin Stone played at Kentucky.
Yeah, and then he went to Louisville.
Then he went to Louisville, but I mean, he didn't go back to Kentucky.
Yeah, because
the one thing is, the kid may have liked Missouri, and like Drew said, you may not like Kwanzaa Martin, and then you get paid to go to LSU, but you may have missed Missouri, and because my thing about the transfer is, it's always got me is it looks like you would develop friends, at a school, and get to know people and want to play. As long as you're playing minutes, once you develop those friendships with other, students and players, you'd want to stay there.
Yep. Brandon, I think that's how you and I and Drew and we look at it, because we grew up simply in around this game in a different time.
Yeah.
I don't think it's about team as much as it about I anymore. It's about where do I fit in this team?
Right.
And if I don't fit, I don't care about said team. I'm going to go where I can fit the team better, not about where the team can help me.
Well, just like you were talking about too, a lot of these high school guys go to three different, prep schools, or in different states have different rules about, eligibility. Alabama's fairly strict, I guess, and this is a private school, about you pretty much have to live in district. But, Atlanta's kind of freestyle, and I used to, work and live up in Chicago, and it's pretty much freestyle, in Chicago a lot, to where you can go to almost any school you want to. Out, but like I said, you got these prep schools where these guys will go to three different prep schools even.
Yep. Well, and Alex Chico was one of those guys. Chico was the guy that played at, I think, three different schools.
All right, Richard, got to move on, brother.
See you guys later.
Thank you.
All right, let's stay on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline this morning. Justin is with us. Good morning, Justin.
Hey guys, how you doing this morning?
Good, Justin.
Hey, I was gonna I got a question about. And it's no secret, I'm not the biggest Duke fan in the world, and I blame that a lot on my old college roommate, who's the offensive coordinator now at T.R. Miller. He loved Duke so much in college when we were living together. I just had to dislike him because he shoved them down my throat so much. So
well, Justin, I've said it many times on this show. They're polarizing. You either love them or hate them. There's really no in between. I've loved Duke since 1986, and so you would not believe the amount of grief that I got when I was growing up about being a Duke fan.
The Yankees are the same way in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, in a lot of ways. I hate them. I hate them.
There's no in between. It's either you love them or you hate them.
Yeah, I can't stand them.
Shout out to Ryan Shell for making me hate Duke. But I got I'm gonna ask you this, Drew, being a Duke fan. And with the way that Roy Williams retired, he just kind of bowed out, kind of walked away, and I remember he retired on April Fool's Day. Everybody thought he was joking. But
yeah,
when
that's
retired, right. They just handed the job over to Hubert, and he just kind of just immediately walked into the job. Do you think with what's happened, where Coach K basically had a swan song, and they named John Shire the coach in waiting, so he's been sitting there for a year, and Duke makes a run and gets to the Final Four, and according to Vegas, was the favorite to win the whole thing once it got to the Final Four. Do you think there's just so much pressure going into the next year on John Shire? Do you think he's going to be able to live up to what pressure he's going to have? Because I think he's right now, I think he's in a way worse situation than Hubert Davis ever is going to be at North Carolina.
Well, you can argue that because Carolina's last 2 years under Roy were not good. I mean, he 2 years ago they went 14-19 and missed the tournament, had a losing record. Then they improved a little bit in his final season in the COVID year, but they got blown out in the first round of the NCAAs by Wisconsin. As you said, he retired, right as the NCAA tournament was winding down, and because that was shortly after Walker Kessler left and got into the and it was really, these were the first transfers we'd seen under Roy Williams. North Carolina was known as a program where guys stayed, and if they left, they were going to the NBA. They didn't leave to go to other schools. And so I don't think Roy was dealing well with the transfer portal, with NIL, all that kind of stuff. I think he felt like he had kind of lost touch a little bit, so he decides to retire. I don't think Coach K's lost touch. I think you saw his team. They were a great basketball team. He decided to, hang it up. Perhaps he didn't want to continue to have to deal with the NIL and the transfer portal, but he's had kids transfer especially last 10 years. He had one Goldwire who Scott and I met his uncle, I believe, over at Bill Penny Toyota the other day. He had spent 3 years at Duke, and then his last year went to Oklahoma to play for Porter Moser this year. But again, I do think there's more pressure on Shire because Carolina had needed to be retooled when Roy retired. Duke is still at the top of the ACC. They won the tournament. But I will say this, with Coach K deciding to step away when he did, Duke had not secured the recruiting class that they ended up signing, which is the number one in the country. Shire and the coaches on that staff, Carrawell, who's a Duke guy. They're all Duke guys. I mean, Nolan Smith. They've got some great players coming in. So the expectations will still be high, so certainly there'll be pressure on John Shire. I'm fascinated to see how he does. We saw him during the COVID year have to step in when Coach K had to step away with COVID, and he had some success. So we'll see. It's certainly going to be an adjustment, and he's going to have to put his stamp on it because, I'll give Hubert Davis credit. He's running a totally different system than Roy Williams did. He's putting his own stamp on Carolina basketball, and John Shire's going to have to do the same thing.
It's like watching the Steve Kerr system at Golden State. But another thing I was going to say about this is the first time I've seen a team where probably since UConn and the Kemba Walker year, this is the first time I've seen a team that was, basically on the cusp of not getting in the tournament.
Right.
Where literally everyone on the team is playing well at the same time. It's the first time I've seen this happen probably since UConn, the year they were a bubble team and they won the Big East tournament and everybody just started playing well. They went on to win the national championship. It's the first time that I've seen anybody do that since then. And North Carolina, I believe they're going to win that. I really believe they're going to win. I think it's lined up. The way they're playing right now, I know Kansas is playing great, but the way North Carolina's playing right now, they may be the best team in America right at this moment.
Well, you look at trends and you look at who finishes the regular season real well and plays yes, they lost to Virginia Tech in the second round of the ACC tournament, and they bowed out. But before that, Carolina was playing really good basketball coming into the ACC tournament. There's something to be said about playing good your last 10 games. That's why a few years ago the committee used to look at the last 10 games of the year and use that as a criteria to get into the NCAA tournament. Because if you're playing real good in your final 10, usually that carries over to success in the tournament sometimes.
Well, that's really all I want, guys. I appreciate your time, and you guys have a good day.
All right, thanks, Justin. Let's get that break in. When we come back and wrap up hour one of Talking Ball, the Masters in full bloom.
You're on 97.7.
The wreck on 565 near the Space and Rocket Center should be clear. They may still be trying to clear the one near County Line. That one had 5 vehicles involved. Both of those were on the eastbound side. Still working the scene near Danville in Morgan County. 157 around South Johnson Chapel Road had a truck loaded with chickens that overturned their southbound total blockage. From routine care to heart failure, Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialist have the expertise to care for all matters of the heart. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Hi, my name is Takia, and a little thing that I love about the Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich is when I take a bite, it's the perfect blend from the bacon to the cheese. It's perfection.
Hey, I'm Katora, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A mac and cheese is it kind of melts in your mouth, so you know it's creamy, cheesy, and delicious. This gooey mac makes me cheese every time.
Order dinner delivered on the Chick-fil-A app today. Delivery fee and other restrictions apply. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
You want the right specialist for your recovery. At SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, we understand every body is different. Your muscles and bones are unique, as is your body. Our SportsMed specialists offer innovative treatments and minimally invasive procedures, allowing you to quickly return to the life you love. Locations in Huntsville, Madison, Athens, and Decatur, and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com. Improving performance, improving lives.
Hey, Bobby White from Woody Anderson Ford back again to talk to you about how easy it is to make a custom factory order. Just click WoodyAndersonFord.com, hit the top banner, then start making your selections. It's really simple, and you'll end up with the exact vehicle you want. Not only is there no extra charge to custom order, but at Woody Anderson Ford, we'll take 5% off MSRP on top of any additional factory rebates on the 2022 F-150, Bronco Sport, Explorer, Expedition, and Ranger. Another option for you is a certified pre-owned. We have over 100 Ford Blue Advantage certified pre-owned models to choose from. Our Ford Gold certified are low mileage, gently used with great warranties. They've passed a 175-point inspection by certified technicians and come with a 24-hour roadside assistance, plus a full tank of gas and a fresh oil change. Also, don't forget our service department is offering a free pickup and delivery when it's time for your next Ford service. Woody Anderson Ford, Jordan at Sparkman. Hope to see you soon.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
Hi, this is Wes Neighbors. I'm here with Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Sam, tell the folks about Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Hey Wes, our company Fleming Roofing and Restoration specializes in commercial and residential roofing and repairs. I'm a 5th generation Huntsvillian, and our family's been doing construction business in Huntsville area since 1965.
Sam, what kind of roofs does Fleming Roofing and Restoration do?
Our guys are skilled enough. We can come out and address any kind of leaks or issues you might have on your commercial, on your metal roofing, on your your shingles, we can do anything, and we can offer you a solution to repair it or we can replace it.
Well, you guys also do insurance restoration.
Our staff has 10-plus years of experience as insurance adjusters, and we really do know the inside and out of the claims process at Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Check out Fleming Roofing and Restoration online at FlemingHSV.com, or you can call or text them at 256-651-9440.
Hey, Wes, we show up.
This segment of Talkin Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
All right, welcome back to Talkin Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. And today, this morning, a short time ago, it is a glorious, glorious day. If you love the Masters, the gates opened at Augusta National a short time ago for the first practice rounds of the week at Augusta National. Now, Tiger Woods did say over the weekend, Drew, that he is a game time decision when it comes to whether or not to play in the Masters, and he'll have a few days to make up that mind. But what makes this year's Masters so special is normally 40 to 50,000 people walk through the gates a day at Augusta National for this week, starting today, going all the way through till Sunday. Last year, there was around just 12,000 people allowed through the gates. They went limited attendance last year. They're at Augusta National this year. None of that. It is full-on fans that they've put back up. Last year, they did not even put up a few of the grandstands because there was not really going to be enough people there. So they didn't do the full course treatment because of COVID, because they only had 12,000 again.
Yeah.
This year, 40 to 50,000, maybe even a little bit more, expected now to be through the gates at Augusta National. They've gone through and have put up all of the grandstands again. It is full-on attendance at the Masters. The only thing that is different, and it's causing a stir at Augusta National, is there will be no Georgia peach ice cream sandwiches available at the Masters this year because of the supply issue and the chain issue and everything like that.
Oh, yeah.
They cannot get.
They couldn't get enough for 50,000
They
people.
couldn't get enough ice cream, so there'll be no. And they raised the price of one of the sandwiches to $3. Not the egg salad or pimento cheese; those will still be $1.50.
Right.
But they did raise a price on a couple of the things. They're not going to be as cheap. Neither will the beer be as cheap as it was, but it's still not expensive. But you still can get your pimento cheese and your egg salad sandwiches for $1.50 at Augusta National this year.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what they're kind of known for, their cheap concessions, affordable prices. But I'm not surprised because there's so many places food-wise that have been affected by these shortages, Scott. You see it at almost every restaurant you go to. Even some of our great sponsors like Baumhauer's, they've had to increase their prices because of the demand for wings. It's been harder to get them, and so the prices go up. Well, the same thing with you'll go to a fast food restaurant, and they'll say due to supply shortages, some things may not be available on the menu. And that's basically what's happening with these Georgia peach ice cream sandwiches. Probably will be hopefully back to normal by next year. We hope so. If the idiot in the White House will wake up and know what day it is. But anyway, we'll see. It's just it's one of those things you got to adjust. But it is great that they're going to have normal crowds again. We had normal crowds at the Final Four. Everything looked great. Did it not?
And, it looked awesome on Saturday.
I mean, the atmosphere looked unbelievable.
Yeah.
And so, and that's what you want to see. You want to see normalcy. You want to see things returning to the way they were before. And so, and you want to see a great crowd tonight. Over in New Orleans for Kansas, and
I think there will be,
and North Carolina. Hopefully, a great game. Great.
I will
crowd.
say this though: ticket prices.
Yeah.
Now, at the beginning of the North Carolina-Duke game, ticket prices for the championship game were hovering around, I think, $200.
Yeah.
After the outcome of the North Carolina-Duke game, ticket prices fell. I want to say there were some tickets available for the national championship game that you could get for around $60 for tonight's championship game. So because of Coach K not being
his final game,
in the final
in the
final
game,
game, it did kind of drop the ticket prices on StubHub right now. If you wanted to go to the national championship game tonight, again, sitting way up high. These are way up
trust
high.
me, I had friends that sent me pictures of where they were at. I mean, we're talking no matter where you're at. Okay,
you ready for this though? Would it be worth?
Yeah.
Would it be worth going if you were somewhat closer to New Orleans than what we are right now? I mean, we're not far. $30.
Yeah.
$30 on StubHub is the cheapest ticket to get into tonight's national championship game.
I don't like Kansas or North Carolina, so I won't be doing it. But yeah, I mean, if somebody actually did, yeah,
$30 could get you in the door.
I'll give a shout out to my guy Gabe Tucker. Yeah, he ought to be getting in a car and flying down there and trying to see if he can get a seat on the front row that is pretty cheap. Even though Eric Church paid $50 large for his, so he'll be there cheering on the Tar Heels.
But see now let's see here. The biggest price that I'm seeing right now, $3,200.
Yeah,
can get you into the sideline, Bunker Club sideline prime. $3,200.
That's like church going for a highfalutin meal in some big city.
No,
he won't even feel it.
You can get a lodge. You can get a ticket to the lodge sidelines. Get some mall food for $1,100. So $1,500 can get you into an upper suite there in tonight's national championship game. So, all right, that's hour one. Hour two going to kick off with our first interview of the morning.
Travis Ryan.
Yeah, we'll talk some spring football, baseball, and softball.
The world champs are back. The Braves are out to defend their world championship. And behind Matt Olson, Ronald Acuna, Dansby Swanson, Max Fried, and this loaded 2022 roster, a repeat is within reach.
There goes Ozzie, 2-2 on the way, hit well. Deep center field. Might have ourselves a tie ball game. You betcha.
And we'll bring you every huge moment of the Braves 2022 season right here on the Atlanta Braves Radio Network.
Outdoor season is coming. Can't wait.
Here at Brooks & Collier, neither can we. Outdoor season is also grilling season.
And we have plenty of grills and smokers in stock. From Traeger, Blaze, and Big Green Egg.
There's the greenhouse. New indoor items and home furnishings as well.
Whatever it takes. Browse over 2 acres of furnishings. Can't wait.
How about you? North Alabama's indoor and outdoor living headquarters for over 75 years.
813 Meridian Street and at brooksandcollier.com.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Had a couple of wrecks on 565, both on the eastbound side, one near County Line with 5 vehicles involved, one near the Space and Rocket Center reported with injuries, but they canceled HIMSI, and a truck loaded with chickens is overturned in Danville in Morgan County. That's on Highway 157. They've got complete southbound blockage there. No hose, no mask. You can ask Dr. Sandman, that's Dr. Sandlin, for the medically proven benefits of the Somnodent for sleep apnea and for snoring. Dr. Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. For this Monday, expect a partly sunny sky. High temperatures topping out in the mid-70s for the afternoon. Will be remaining dry for this Monday as well. For your Monday night, a few isolated showers mainly after midnight. A mostly cloudy sky. Low temperatures falling into the lower 50s for the overnight. I'm meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
When we say local, we mean local, not Birmingham.
Loser.
We are the only sports talk station in Huntsville. It's all right here. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You've got a magical glow.
Welcome to Talkin Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
And welcome back. Talkin Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond with you on this Monday morning. Happy April 4th, everyone. Hour 2 of Talking Ball officially underway. And over the weekend, Alabama scrimmaged for the first time of the spring. Of course, it's all just leading up to A-Day, which you'll be able to hear right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Alabama baseball takes 2 out of 3 from Texas A&M, and Alabama softball has a chance tonight to take 2 out of 3 from Georgia.
Yes, they do. We're going to talk some Alabama athletics with our next guest. He certainly is as well-versed as anyone on the topic. He joins us on a weekly basis during the football, basketball, and even some of the baseball season. We always appreciate his time and his insight. He's the senior analyst since 2003 for BamaOnline.com, which is part of the 24/7 Sports Network. Also has daily podcasts with Bama Online and SEC Second Helping, talking some SEC football with our great friend Brent Beard, as they are longtime radio partners in Jacksonville, Florida. And we're talking about Travis Reier, who's now with us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Travis, hope you had a great weekend. I know this one's a great week for you. You always look forward to with the Masters, but welcome back. You're with Drew and Scott.
Yes, it is. It's a confluence of just spring's arrival when it comes to sporting events. I'm doing great. I hope you guys are as well.
Doing real good. And Travis, before we delve into baseball and softball, Alabama going through their first scrimmage of spring camp on Saturday. A scrimmage that when we listened to Nick Saban, kind of at points listening to him talk, they're where we thought they would be, and then others, it's obvious that they do have a little bit of work to do in the spring.
Yeah, about what you would expect for scrimmage number 1 of spring drills. And I guess as much as anything, everyone was allowed to participate because Will Anderson was held out of the scrimmage. So, that gave the offense a little bit more of some solid footing on which to work. But no, I think, as he stated, post-scrimmage, it's a time where you want to sort of identify the guys that you can invest more into. I know they try to do that with each and every player on the roster, but it gives them that opportunity before they get into the summer months and even looking ahead to fall camp to sort of, again, identify the legitimate candidates that can take on more as another year moves along. And, you always look at the quarterback position because you're interested as much as anything with this group to see if a guy like Jalen Milroe and a newcomer like Kai Simpson, what their level of readiness is going to be. Sounds like there were some good things for both those guys. Offensive line continues to be an area of concern. Still trying to figure some things out, more so likely at tackle than anything else. And, there's some big news potentially coming here in the next couple of days with Tyler Steen, the Vanderbilt transfer who has been in the portal and is heavily considering Alabama, so that ties in there as well. And about what you would expect for a first scrimmage. Sounds like he liked what he saw from the limited running back rotation they have available to him right now with Trey Sanders and the Georgia Tech transfer Jahmyr Gibbs, and some of the young wide receivers, Aaron Anderson, the early enrollee from Louisiana, apparently with a couple of dynamic type plays, but then some returning guys doing some good things as well.
Yeah, and Travis, one of the underrated things that I heard, and it's everybody's focused on the offensive tackles left and right, which is a huge story. And as you said, Tyler Steen will likely make a decision public this week. We'll see if he chooses Alabama. And then, of course, everybody's talked about the wide receivers and guys needing to step forward, and even the corner slots with the newcomer like Elijah Ricks. But the loss of Fedarian Mathis and what he meant the last 2 years has been big. But you heard some encouraging things, at least I did this weekend, about a young player like Jamil Burrows, who has not played a lot the last 2 years but had a good scrimmage. And then a couple of young guys, one redshirted, Tim Keenan from Ramsey High School in Birmingham. And then he
in depth about when asked about it post-scrimmage, but there was some buzz coming from the scrimmage at least that, yeah, some of those younger guys or inexperienced guys look like they're ready to, take a step forward. The three guys you outlined, more true interior types, but, if they can provide some disruptive sort of play there at the point, that would absolutely be welcomed with Mathis moving on to the NFL. I know apparently Keenan had a big hit in the backfield that resulted in a fumble, so you like to see that because you've got some guys that have played a lot, and DJ Dale and Tim Smith, and you expect them to be a step beyond where they've been the last couple of years for sure in 2022. So you're always on the lookout for that next wave. Otis just he's amazing in terms of size, and it sounds like he's already done a nice job of getting himself in a better place in terms of being able to sustain on a down in and down out basis given his size.
Well, and before we go and continue to talk about the baseball and softball weekends, which were good for Alabama, I wanted to ask you, though, about Tyler Steen and get your opinion. I know you and Hank South have been monitoring this situation. Everything I've been hearing is that Alabama was still confident that he would choose the Tide. What's the latest buzz on that, Travis, that you've heard?
Yeah, in talking with our guys that, are tied into that on a minute-to-minute basis, that has been sort of their perspective of the situation. And the Steen family is obviously doing or has done its diligence. He has a nice group of finalists here, including LSU, I think Virginia, obviously Alabama, Kentucky has been in that mix as well. So the expectation is that here shortly we will hear something from Tyler Steen. And, he is a guy that I think you certainly look at as very much a potential plug-and-play at one of those tackle spots. And it's kind of the beauty of the situation of Tyler Steen. He's played a lot at both left and right tackle at Vanderbilt. So he's going to be able to handle whatever you throw at him, and it will be interesting here in the next little bit to see exactly what he decides to do.
The one thing Nick Saban did mention over and over again on Saturday was drop balls. We did hear the word drop balls mentioned several times.
He did, and that's an evolving situation as we sort of expected it to be, especially with Ja'Cory Brooks out for the spring. You have Jermaine Burton, who you feel good about now at the top of that rotation until you can get Brooks back. But that was sort of a thing that you heard multiple times from Nick Saban post-scrimmage on Saturday. So, still some guys trying to prove themselves. Trayshawn Holden is the guy that, you watch him with Bryce Young, and Bryce obviously has that relationship with him that predates Alabama, and there's a level of confidence with Trayshawn. And, you talk about returning receivers for Alabama from a year ago, Trayshawn's the guy who comes back as the leader in receptions and yards. Sounds like JoJo Earl is doing some good things this spring. Had that injury late in the 2021 season, sort of stymied him a little bit, so that's good to hear. And then, you still have guys like Christian Leary, these slot types that Alabama has accumulated now with Aaron Anderson and Christian Leary and JoJo Earl. They have a chance to be, very explosive in there. And then you could even extend that to Jahmyr Gibbs because of what he's able to do in terms of versatility out of the backfield. You could see some more two-backs even with Jahmyr Gibbs because you can get him out into the slot, split him out, do some different things, maybe Kenyon Drake-ish in that way that you can utilize him that not just as a single back in the offense, but as a guy that you can get kind of multiple with.
Yeah, and then with all these talented guys, and then they still don't have Shaz Preston on campus or Isaiah Bond. From what I'm hearing, he finally returned to practice this week. He was with the threes. He had some good practices leading up to the scrimmage. Didn't get a lot of reps, but Jai Hall is going to have to make a move soon, Travis, or it may be time for him to finally get into the portal.
Yeah, that's going to continue to be a storyline to follow, no doubt about it. And it's kind of a shame because with Ja'Cory out, they need another outside guy, especially to go along with Jermaine Burton. And, Trayshawn Holden can give them some of that. But obviously Hall has the attributes physically to be one of those playmakers on the outside. And kind of up to him, I think, at this point as to what extent or kind of what his legacy will be as an Alabama player anyway, moving forward. And I agree. I think it probably needs to happen soon because you already have a guy like Kendrick Law on campus that is doing some nice things as an early enrollee. So, you either get with it or you get on, it seems like, at a place like Alabama.
Speaking of getting with it, the baseball team got a big series win, their first in the SEC this past weekend as they take the final two games from Texas A&M. Now, there was nearly an epic collapse on Saturday, but they found a way to overcome a bad sixth inning. Dylan Ray from our community here at Bob Jones closed the door on the 10-9 win, and then they got some really nice offensive production after a slow start in Game 3. I thought it was significant that they got their first SEC series win because we know how difficult the SEC is, and especially the SEC West, and the schedule is going to get really difficult quickly and really stay difficult the rest of the year. But Alabama's showing some signs baseball-wise, Travis.
Yeah, they just go to Ole Miss and Tennessee the next two conference weekends. That's all.
Yeah.
So absolutely, you hate to sort of designate a series kind of in, I guess, week 3 or so of conference play is a must-win, but it even had that feel this weekend in Tuscaloosa. And so to bounce back from that tough, close loss on Friday, as you said, to get a harrowing win, I guess you could call it, on Saturday, and then to take care of business on Sunday, as you said, after falling behind. Good to see Will Hammeter back in the lineup. That was big this weekend. And, I think the starting pitching, has for the most part been pretty much good enough. But, man, you get into this bullpen right now, and you're not exactly sure what you're going to get. And defensively, they didn't always help themselves. They actually got some help from Texas A&M in the Saturday game, too. So that was kind of an unearned run fest on Saturday. So you take them, and you absolutely are happy with any series win in the SEC. But as you said, it just gets tougher, and you start thinking about Hoover and some of the things big picture-wise, which you can't afford to do if you're in the arena like the players and Brad Bohannon and the coaching staff. But you start trying to add up wins to get to, 12, 13, 14 conference wins.
Ooh,
and
tough.
Even though you've got 4 right now, it gets harder to do.
It does, but, if you look at that SEC West, and that just kind of sheds light, though. It is – Tennessee's not running away, but Tennessee has staked a huge claim to the East with their sweep of Vanderbilt over the weekend. But you look at this West, and, everybody's in there at 4 and 5, except for 2 teams. That is just – it is it's – I don't know. I don't want to say
Auburn
amazing
won
to watch.
2 out of 3 and at LSU.
Yeah, I don't want to say it's amazing to look at, but it's just a jam.
And that's why you think about the Mississippi State series if you're Alabama, and you say, that was just – the second series. You get down the road and you start considering some scenarios, and you think back to a loss or two in that series that Alabama had there for the taking as wins, and they literally do. Every one of these games are precious.
Yeah, they really are. They're precious, and you really want to avoid getting swept because and we saw Vanderbilt do that at home. Tennessee swept them. Tennessee and Tony Vitello, I believe they're 27-1. They're an offensive machine. Their pitching is unbelievable, and Alabama has to go there in a couple of weeks, so that's going to be daunting. Oxford's never easy, but Ole Miss has been a little bit up and down. So if you're Alabama, you're hoping to at least take one game, and that's what was a little frustrating about Starkville, Travis, because that should have been a winnable series for Alabama. Yep. This is a Mississippi State team trying to find themselves, and maybe even could have been a road sweep, and those are extremely rare.
Yeah, and you look at head-to-heads and things like that. You're 5-4 if you just win one of those two games. You let get away at Duty Noble, and it's more like a 2-game lead than a 1-game lead there.
Mm-hmm. It really is. And now to switch gears to softball, Coach Murphy and the ladies. Weather permitting, weather's not looking great right now. May have to be postponed again. But the inaugural Sand Mountain Showdown will be in Albertville this week, again, if the weather allows it to be. Alabama will be taking on Jacksonville State. But right now, Alabama has a prime-time contest against number 18 Georgia tonight. Georgia taking game 1 from Coach Murphy and the ladies when they honored the 10-year anniversary. Hard to believe it's been 10 years already with Jackie Traina and those young ladies that and Cassie Riley Bosha and Kayla Breaux that won the first national championship in SEC history. Now Alabama bouncing back from the opening loss to Georgia to come back from a 3-1 deficit, win it 9-3, and now have Montana Fouts looking for some redemption tonight and try to take a series at home in the meat grinder known as the SEC.
Absolutely. Big 6th inning yesterday, as we know. Had to actually call back, from a 3-1 deficit to get to that point, and kind of the usual suspects in some ways, but, Murph still has some pinch hit magic working in his favor in that 6th inning as well, and give Lexi Kilfoyle a lot of credit yesterday. She kind of hung in there. It wasn't perfect by any means, but Georgia is a team that can hit it. So, she stayed with her stuff, and that drop ball on the outside part of the plate from the right-hand hitter ended up being exactly what she needed it to be down the stretch, at least until the offense could catch up. And, if you're Alabama, you feel good about going into tonight's game because you pretty much saw the whole Georgia pitching staff yesterday. Not so much in terms of fatigue or anything like that for Georgia today, but in fast pitch softball, it's just huge to be able to get a look at the different pitchers. And, Georgia obviously saw Montana in the Saturday game, but, I think Alabama offensively should be in pretty good shape going into this one tonight.
And are you concerned about Montana Fouts the last couple of weeks? She has been touched up a little bit. She's lost a couple of games. But around this time last year, she made some adjustments and kind of turned it up, and then I thought became the best pitcher in the country for the majority of the season. Do you think do we see that happening again? What is your thoughts on Fouts?
Yeah, I'm with you on that in terms of thinking that she's going to do what she needs to do, and Steph and that staff are going to do what they need to do to make the adjustments, because in this league you have to. Mm-hmm. As we talked about just a moment ago, Montana Fouts is a dominant pitcher, but there's also really good hitters in this league, and there's also the exposure that accumulates when you spend as much time in the league or throw as much in the league as Montana has. I don't care how talented you are. These hitters, after they get a look at you for a while, if your command is even slightly off, you can fall victim to some inconsistencies behind the plate from a strike zone perspective too. But the hitters are just too good. And, it's like very few players, the high-level players in the SEC leave the SEC. It's not, one and dones in basketball. It's not 3 and outs in football. I mean, in softball and, say, women's basketball, look at South Carolina women's basketball. They won the national championship last night. So you're thinking, well, Leah Boston will be moving on. She's a national player. No, she's going to be back because the value in women's basketball and softball in those sports right now, when you think about what's beyond college or the SEC, it's not even close. So yeah, I mean, it's great for Alabama that you're able to keep a Montana Fouls for 4, maybe even 5 seasons because of COVID. But there's also exposure to be taken into account, no matter how talented you are.
And then finally, Travis, your thoughts on both men's and women's basketball quickly. Jaden Shackelford moving on to the NBA or to the professional ranks. Not a complete surprise there. And then I think pleasantly, Christy Curry, and you've made reference to this when we've talked to you before, about Alabama becoming a portal program, but adding some big pieces out of that portal.
They have. Obviously, Sarah Ashley Barker is most recognizable in that group, but some other pieces as well, and also retention is so big with Brittany Davis and Megan Abrams and Hannah Barber. And look, if you're Alabama, you're a program like Alabama, that's great that you're doing that, because like I just said, South Carolina just won the national championship and they're not, losing much. And, other programs around the SEC aren't going to lose much. They too are adding from the portal. So just to sustain your current place in the SEC pecking order, you need to do what Alabama has done here in the last week and a half. Perhaps it has even elevated Alabama back to more of a relevant NCAA tournament team from a couple of years ago. But, coaching changes around the league too. Going to be very interesting to monitor, with Joni going from Georgia to Texas A&M, Georgia backfilling, with her successor coming from Central Florida. So some things to consider on that front. Mississippi State with another change at the top. So, Kim Mulkey and LSU are only going to get better. So some of the deck chairs have been reshuffled a little bit. But, yeah, I think for Alabama, specifically this last week and a half or so, it needed to kind of happen the way it did to give that program a chance to be, again, NCAA tournament relevant at least.
Mm-hmm. No question. Well, Travis, great stuff as always. Let everybody know how to follow all you guys' coverage at BamaOnline.com, and you'll be all over spring football, baseball, softball tonight, of course, and then, the basketball situation with Nate Oates.
Just go to BamaOnline.com or Alabama.247sports.com. Either way will get you to us.
Thanks, Travis.
Thanks, Travis.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Travis Reier with us. Let's get at break in. When we come back, we'll preview the Final Four, a little bit more from New Orleans.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Just got a new wreck just over into Limestone County. Dupree, Worthy, and Country Lane. That's north of 72. Got a truck that's overturned there. Injury and entrapment reported on it. Got Highway 157 southbound in Danville. Got a truck that was loaded with chickens that overturned. Southbound block completely there. The fan favorite's back. 8 butterfly shrimp, a signature side, and a buttermilk biscuit for $6 in Popeye Shrimp Tackle Box. University in Jordan, 72 in Jeff and North Parkway. Captain Nick in the Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Hi, my name is Dan Aldridge. I'm here to let you know about the Aldridge Law Firm and the soon-to-be-announced Legal Town Center. I've been practicing law in Alabama since 1984, and I also practice in Tennessee. And I'm from North Alabama, and I'm here to represent you and take care of your legal needs. For many of us, hiring an attorney is not high on the priority list, and maybe a little scary. But it's something that we all need at some point. So by all means, do your homework. And if you need representation for car accident, wrongful death, medical malpractice, nursing home abuse, or estate planning, or any other matter, just give us a call at 256-534-3188. And you can email me at Dan@danaldridgelaw.com. Dan@danaldridgelaw.com. God bless America.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
Hi everybody, Eli Gold here. Right now, indoor air quality occupies top-of-mind awareness for families and business owners. Rick Smith and the trusted professionals at Environmental Comfort Systems can take care of your indoor air quality concerns with their state-of-the-art indoor air quality solutions. Environmental Comfort's indoor air quality systems remove 99.9% of airborne contaminants so you and your family can breathe clean, fresh air. If anyone in your family suffers from allergies, or if you just want the security of knowing the air you breathe inside your home is free from viruses, bacteria, pet dander, dust, and odors, Environmental Comfort Systems are the professionals to call. Environmental Comfort also carries state-of-the-art, high-efficiency comfort systems that increase home comfort, keep humidity in check, and help you save money on your energy bills. Give my friend Rick a call or visit them online at envcomfort.com and breathe cleaner air today. Environmental Comfort Systems, Alabama license number 92314.
I love overpriced stuff. Avocados, designer t-shirts, artisanal water. That's why I get my internet from the other guys. Paying more for the same stuff. What could be better?
Wow is better. For just $19.99 a month, we give you the super fast, extra reliable internet you need. Act now before this deal is gone. Internet 100 for just $19.99 a month. Plus, learn how to get up to $300 on us. Sign up at Huawei.com. Wow. Limited to new customers with auto pay and paperless billing. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. Offer subject to change. Restrictions and terms apply.
Hey, Bobby White from Woody Anderson Ford back again to talk to you about how easy it is to make a custom factory order. Just click WoodyAndersonFord.com, hit the top banner, then start making your selections. It's really simple, and you'll end up with the exact vehicle you want. Not only is there no extra charge to custom order, but at Woody Anderson Ford, we'll take 5% off MSRP on top of any additional factory rebates on the 2022 F-150, Bronco Sport, Explorer, Expedition, and Ranger. Another option for you is a certified pre-owned. We have over 100 Ford Blue Advantage certified pre-owned models to choose from. Our Ford Gold certified are low mileage, gently used with great warranties. They've passed a 175-point inspection by certified technicians and come with a 24-hour roadside assistance, plus a full tank of gas and a fresh oil change. Also, don't forget our service department is offering a free pickup and delivery when it's time for your next Ford service. Woody Anderson Ford, Jordan at Sparkman, hope to see you soon.
Hey, this is Justin with the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. We'd like to invite you to North Alabama's premier patio bar and grill, where at the factory, we have something going on each and every night. Monday night, steak night. Tuesday night, karaoke. Wednesday night, the Jeep community comes out for Jeep Jam. Thursday, it's bike night, the biggest in the valley. Friday and Saturday, live concerts on our 4,000 square foot patio, along with drink specials and a beautiful staff. What are you waiting on? We will see you at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill.
Tom Abraham, weekdays from 10 till noon on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
All lines are open. Feel free to jump in. 256-576-4977.
This is Chuck Oliver. Listen to me coming up at noon today. Now, back to Talkin Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Hi, welcome back. Talkin Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond with you. And tonight we do get the national championship in college basketball. Last night the SEC put another feather in its cap as South Carolina took home the women's national championship 63-49 over UConn. And we talked about polarizing teams. Mm-hmm. Duke is the team on the men's side, I think, that you either love them or hate them. I don't know too many other programs on the men's side that is that way. There's always that feel-good story where you love the team X, Y, and Z or whatever. On the women's, in Major League Baseball, it's the New York Yankees.
Yeah,
I think it's everybody
loves or hates.
Loves them or hate them.
Yeah.
On the NFL side, I don't know that team in the NFL.
Used to be the Patriots. But now Tom Brady's with the Bucs.
I don't know who it is, though, in the NFL where it's just pure love or hate.
It was the Patriots. I don't know that there is one right now. I think you're right about that.
In women's basketball, that's UConn.
Oh, it's UConn. There's
you
no
either
question
love them
about it.
or you hate them. There is no if, and, or buts about it. Well, UConn lost last night, 63-49 to South Carolina. Yeah, see, that's the thing. You either love the fact that they didn't win last night, or you love the fact that it's like, oh, okay, it's just, I don't know. Tonight, you get the men's national championship game, Kansas and North Carolina. There's people that probably are going to love Carolina because they're the underdog and they're the 8th seed, even though this is like, I don't know, the 21st Final Four appearance for them.
It is the most ever.
They can win their 7th national championship tonight.
Yeah.
Or you get Kansas, who is their 16th Final Four.
Trying to win their 4th.
This is their 10th title game.
Yep.
So, I mean,
Bill Self trying to go into that stratosphere.
I guess the love-hate tonight is Bill Self.
Championship. Well, maybe because of the FBI investigation.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens with that. But our next guest is with us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Multi-level, college basketball, really basketball analyst, period, on all levels. But he loves college basketball. He's been making the rounds since he was last on our show. He's been to Cameron Indoor Stadium. He, of course, covered the Duke Blue Devils. He's been in New Orleans, still is for the Final Four. Envious there. He was like me. I picked before the Final Four. I picked Duke, but he picked Duke all the way back in June when they put together this roster. He's been unafraid to admit that. And now we're going to get his thoughts on this Final Four, on Coach K's legacy, and on this game tonight between Kansas and the North Carolina Tar Heels. And we're talking about at Tate's Take on Hoops on Twitter, but it's Deshaun Tate who's with us now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Deshaun, welcome back to Huntsville. You're with Drew and Scott. Good morning to you. Envious you're in New Orleans. How are you?
Top of the morning to you guys. Listen, I've been trying to see what all the good food is about here in New Orleans, and
Scott's envious of that. Definitely.
It's definitely as advertised. We're talking about a grown man here at almost 38 years old, 150 pounds. My only objective was to come back looking like Zion Williamson, and we haven't accomplished that just yet. But I will say this much real quick before we get into it is, it's crazy some of the things you guys have kind of thrown out there. Kansas, what feels like one of the top of the Blue Bloods, because most people feel like, basketball originated there almost, and they've got, I say, only 3 national championships. We know how hard and difficult that is, but North Carolina, an underdog in a national championship game, how often do you hear those things?
What I want to know first, though, is Kansas is favored by 4 points tonight, 4.5 in some circles. What's the over-under that you have been to Cafe Du Monde 4 times or 5 times? That's what should be the real over-under.
I haven't, and you know what the crazy part is you can't be everywhere.
No, but you should be there.
Scott's giving you advice.
I understand that. I actually overstand that. Nonetheless, listen, you ask so many different people where you should go and where the best, just like when you go any other place, where's the best place to eat? Everybody says the top place is somewhere different.
Oh,
so
I know.
It's almost
I know.
like, you know what,
But that's for dessert,
though. You can
though.
go with the recommendation.
Cafe Du Monde is strictly beignets, and it's
dessert.
If you don't leave with
this place, dessert at that place.
If you don't leave with powdered sugar all over yourself, then you have not been to Cafe Du Monde.
I think they gave one to Gary Parrish and John Rothstein. I think I did see that on Twitter.
Yeah.
No doubt. But we've got Deshaun Tate with us. Deshaun, first of all, just your thoughts on Coach K. Duke, they fall short, but it was a great high-level game. And your thoughts on what he's meant to college basketball. To me, I said this on Twitter. I'm going to stick my neck out. I think he's the greatest college basketball coach ever. And I'm not trying to disrespect John Wooden, but he did it in a time from 1985 forward, which was the majority of his career, where it was a 64-team tournament turned into a 68-team event. Even tougher to win than it was when Coach Wooden won 10 out of 12. But Coach K winning 5 times, winning 1,200-plus games, winning 100 games in March Madness, I still think when you factor that in and what he did for the USA basketball organization, that he's the greatest coach ever.
No, I do agree with that. I will say this much, that he will also be one of those people that we always wanted to know what he would have been like on an NBA level. That box had never been checked. That's one that we always kind of wanted to know. And you ask so many of the NBA guys, and they'll vouch from him from a standpoint of, on the clipboard. But there's very few resumes that will match up with Coach K, and that just being one of the reasons I'm being the best coach. Certainly within, my 38 calendars of living almost, that would be that guy to win a national championship. That's one of the reasons behind why I kind of figured, whether you call it political or prerogative or anything else, I certainly thought that they would have been the ones to cut down the nets. But listen, a great run. I said this the other day, and I know it sounds crazy. This is actually 2 things for you. The first one being that he's got to come back. You got to finish the right way. I mean, I get it to an extent, this and that. You got to go ahead and close the deal on your last one out, and that's just me selfishly not wanting to see Coach K retire. Something I never thought that I would see in my existence. That's for sure. And it's the other piece of that, especially with losing the other night to Carolina, and I know this may not necessarily be a popular opinion amongst people, but I'm one that believes you play Carolina. I always said this, to whoever the loser is, in this case, obviously Duke, you lose to Carolina in that Final Four, you don't hang a Final Four banner in your arena. That's Carolina. They put you out. If it was Carolina, that's Duke. They put you out. It's nothing more than a constant reminder. I said that halfway facetiously and halfway only.
When you look at that game as a whole, we have seen a lot of fantastic Final Four games, a lot of fantastic championship games. I know the dust has settled in it. We've had about 48 hours to kind of digest it. Where would you put that game all time, though, in Final Four games?
Near the top for sure. I mean, there's so many to kind of go through. I'm not sure if we could have asked for a better ending with the last few seconds of the Villanova and North Carolina in 2016. But it's certainly up there. And, I mean, listen, it was supposed to be. It was everything that, was expected to be. It's Duke and it's Carolina, the aggressive play, the physical play. The guys don't like each other. If you didn't get a chance, if there was one to be at, that was the one. If you never got a chance to be at, a Carolina versus Duke, and you live on the other side of the country, and you know how difficult it is to get tickets to one of those games, well, you got 70,000 seats in this place. There's more than enough opportunities. It's really just about how much coin you're willing to spend. But listen, I mean, it was a knockdown, drag out like we all thought that it was going to be. The free throws down the stretch for Duke, and of course, definitely still want to give credit to North Carolina for everything that they were able to do. First year coach we're talking about here. I was thinking the other day, I don't even remember who the last time or if ever happened a first-year coach for a national championship would have been. So credit to Hubert Davis, who's a great guy, and I still remember all the things that people said about, Hubert Davis at the press conference when he first got hired. I remember how people were killing him then, losing by 20 to 30 points, teams that didn't even make the NCAA tournament this year. All of these different things. I understand that, one of the things that when you're looking at teams winning a national championship with Duke's team in 15 and Kentucky's team in 12 being an exception, that you got to have that experience. But we're talking about how difficult is it to do it as an inexperienced head coach? All of these things matter. North Carolina got it done, and that's the reason why they're going on to maybe win a national championship, and who they consider to be their eighth. Not their seventh, but their eighth. Won one in 1924, but we know 1939 is where it started.
Well, and I've got to get your thoughts on the matchup with Kansas. Kansas played at a very high level, we know that Villanova wasn't whole with Justin Moore, but Kansas shot the ball unlike they have all tournament from the three-point line. That was the key. Yet they still didn't fire on all cylinders. We certainly didn't see a great performance from Remy Martin. So they did leave some I think meat on the bone. Deshaun, how do you see this game? It's a 4-point game. My pick was Kansas 80-76, but how do you see it playing out?
Yeah, at this point, I feel like it's almost too hard to go against Carolina with the story and everything else. Obviously, Kansas has a really good team and deserves to be there. The crazy part about it is this. I mean, even not just these two teams, but even the four that are in the Final Four, all the blue bloods and everything else, history and tradition and program prestige and whatever else, is these are four programs that just feels like the teams this year that they put in are not nearly as good as some of the recent teams that we've seen all of them have. As good as they played, obviously, this year in the NCAA tournament. But, I mean, listen, what Kansas left you with walking off of that floor after that game and obviously before the Duke and Carolina game on Saturday night was, how is anybody going to beat them, especially if they shoot this way? I thought Christian Braun, had to be really big for them from a shooting standpoint. Obviously, Abaji as well, who's up for National Player of the Year. We know how difficult it is to shoot in these domes. That's going to be tested by Braun and Brady Manick, obviously. So I love the shooting matchup. And obviously the size matchup on the inside with, David McCormick, who you never know exactly what you're going to get sometimes, but looks significantly different when he was out of the game from when he was in the game. And obviously Villanova was making a little bit of a run then at that time. But then you've got Armando Bacot, who had about 1,000 rebounds in that game against Duke. And like he had a chip on his shoulder because he was up for Conference Player of the Year as well. So, it's crazy to think about all of these things. But Kansas at one point shot 70%, both from the field and from three in that game. It's crazy. I mean, I'm not sure if that's something I've ever seen before, but then after, you're thinking nobody can beat this team, and then North Carolina left you with the feeling that they left you with after beating Duke. And it's going to go down as an incredible, matchup, an incredible game, Hall of Fame, resumes in terms of program prestige and everything else, but I think I'm going to take Carolina on this one.
Carolina to be kind of the new team of destiny, to overcome the emotional, win over Duke and still be able to finish the drill and become the second 8 seed ever next to Villanova to win the NCAA tournament. And, of course, as you said, the rookie head coach, first-year coach, and Hubert Davis, who would win the 7th and potentially really 8th if you go back before the NCAA tournament was formed for the Carolina Tar Heels. It would be a huge win for them. No doubt about it. But before we let you go, Deshaun, I did want to ask you this too. We talked about it earlier in the show, but Walker Kessler, former North Carolina Tar Heel, going to Auburn, National Defensive Player of the Year, moving on. I know you cover the NBA as well. Give us your thoughts on Walker Kessler transitioning now to the next level.
Yeah, I think for me, it would have been nice to see, and this is just me, outside of financial situations with families and so forth. I don't want to be that guy. I'm not sure that I think there's really a player in college basketball who can, who shouldn't come back. To be honest with you, I think everybody can improve on something. I think that college basketball, we've seen significant leaps, right? We've seen significant leaps from him when going from Carolina over to Auburn. We know that that's obviously not going to happen in terms of him coming back and, defensive player of the year. And I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of that when, all the chips were on the table against Miami and all of those things. But I think that he's going to be a really good player in the NBA. How good, I don't know that. But if you're looking for some size, I mean, this is one of the drafts to do it. You've got him. You've got Hunter Dickinson. You're likely going to have, Kofi Coburn and a few others that are going to be sprinkled in throughout there. But he certainly proved himself to be one of the best big men, if not the best one in college basketball this year, especially with his ability to protect the rim, rebound, and can score the basketball like to see how well he's going to be able to step out and shoot from distance in some of those workouts and, some of those different things under high-pressure moments. I don't think it's a bad decision at all. It doesn't surprise me the least bit, and I would anticipate him being a really good NBA player for a good amount of time.
Well, great stuff. Deshaun Tate, once again with us this morning, giving us his thoughts live from New Orleans before the Final Four in the National Championship game tonight. It'll be 8:20 Central Time will be your tip-off. And, of course, you can connect with him at Tate's Take Hoops on Twitter. But, Deshaun, we always appreciate it. Great insight. And, again, enjoy the atmosphere tonight. Enjoy the National Championship game. And I'm sure we'll be talking college basketball with you again soon. But thank you for joining us.
Overly grateful and thankful for you guys having me and for the beignets and Cafe Du Monde's recommendation.
Yes, you got to get the beignets.
Yeah,
I mean,
man.
that's a staple. All right, bud.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's get that break in. It kind of bothers me that he does not know about Cafe Du Monde. I mean, he's got a recommendation.
Well, look, I wouldn't have known either. I've never been to New Orleans.
Oh, my goodness. All right, let's get that final break in when we come back. Tomorrow's headlines today.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
That's the sound of a crack in the ceiling found at a home inspection. But with a Realtor by your side, a newfound leak might only cause minor worries. With their expertise, a Realtor can suggest a credit at closing and even connect you to a contractor to help you shore up that leak and alleviate your worries. When it comes to cracks in your plans, the expertise of a Realtor can make all the difference. The difference between an agent and a Realtor is real. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time, or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
America First Alabama PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising. North Alabama needs a Trump-tested conservative representing us in Congress. We need Republican Casey Wardynski. Casey Wardynski served as Assistant Secretary of the Army for Manpower and Reserve Affairs under President Trump, responsible for the supervision of the Army's 1.3 million person manpower. Casey Wardynski believes in restoring integrity of elections and will push back against the leftist schemes of Nancy Pelosi to weaken elections. Casey Wardynski also agrees with President Trump and will fully fund the wall and finish in the swamp and send a Trump-tested conservative to Washington. We can count on Republican Casey Wardynski.
Hey, Bobby White from Woody Anderson Ford back again to talk to you about how easy it is to make a custom factory order. Just click WoodyAndersonFord.com, hit the top banner, then start making your selections. It's really simple, and you'll end up with the exact vehicle you want. Not only is there no extra charge to custom order, but at Woody Anderson Ford, we'll take 5% off MSRP on top of any additional factory rebates on the 2022 F-150, Bronco Sport, Explorer, Expedition, and Ranger. Another option for you is a certified pre-owned. We have over 100 Ford Blue Advantage certified pre-owned models to choose from. Our Ford Gold certified are low mileage, gently used with great warranties. They've passed a 175-point inspection by certified technicians and come with a 24-hour roadside assistance, plus a full tank of gas and a fresh oil change. Also, don't forget our service department is offering a free pickup and delivery when it's time for your next Ford service. Woody Anderson Ford, Jordan at Sparkman, hope to see you soon.
Tired of the same old menu options everywhere you go? Then you need to try Metro Diner in Huntsville and Madison. The award-winning Metro Diner serves up signature dishes like their Charleston shrimp and grits, famous fried chicken and waffles with strawberry butter, and lots more. Their entire menu is available anytime, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And stop by for brunch on Saturday or Sunday and enjoy the lowest price mimosas in town. Airport Road, Huntsville, and Highway 72 in Madison. In diner or at home, make it Metro Diner.
Got a couple of new accidents, Parkway southbound at Maston Lake and Highway 53 southbound at Jeff Road. Both of those reported as no injury. Got injuries involved on Dupree Worthy at Country Lane, that's in Limestone County, north of 72. And we had a wreck in Danville in Morgan County, 157 southbound block completely there, had an overturned truck that was loaded with chickens. The 38th annual Bloomin' Festival Art and Craft Fairs coming up in Coleman the 23rd and 24th of April with over 160 artists and craftsmen, great food, music, and much more. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
This segment of Talkin Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com. It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Hi, welcome back to Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Wrapping up our final segment of the day, and in honor of the national championship game tonight on this day at the NCAA Tournament 1983.
Down to 14 seconds. Oh, almost stolen by Drexler. Boy, is he good at that. They've got to drive to the basket. It's down to 7 seconds. You can see the time. Wittenberg. Oh, it's a long ways. Oh! They won it! On the dunk!
Lorenzo Charles.
The late Lorenzo Charles
helped NC State and Jimmy Valvano win the 1983 National Championship game.
Still probably the most iconic moment in March Madness history, simply because of the run that NC State went on. They had to win their conference tournament in the ACC to get into, I believe, what was a 48-team tournament then, to even just make it, and then to win the NCAA tournament. And I'll say this, it's probably my first memory, Scott, of college basketball. And I was watching it on TV with my parents. I didn't know what was going on.
Right.
I did not know it was the national championship game. I did not know who it was that won. I just remember watching Lorenzo Charles dunk the ball and then Coach V running around like a madman on the floor. Didn't realize until later, because I was only 8 years old.
Okay.
So, roughly. And so I had no idea what was going on, but it's ingrained in your mind that you saw that game and what happened. I think the second memory for me in college basketball is arguably the greatest game of all time, which was Leitner hitting the shot against Kentucky in '92 to win that game. But that was, a regional final. That wasn't even for the national championship. So I still think, because it was to win it all, and because Vi Slamma-Jamma was so good and NC State was the ultimate underdog, that's probably the greatest memory ever, what Coach Valvano was able to do winning the national championship. And really, I want to say, Scott, I think I'm right about this. I don't think NC State has made the Final Four since.
I don't think so.
That run in 1983. I don't even think they've made it. I think they've made some Elite Eights and some Sweet 16s under Herb Sindick. But the Wolfpack has not come close to winning a national championship since that time. And the great David Thompson, I believe, won it in 1974. And then of course they win it in 1983. But I think that's the last time NC State made the Final Four was in that 83 season.
All right, Major League Baseball. We do get Major League Baseball opening up, I believe, this week as well. The Braves will open up, I believe, with the Cincinnati Reds on Thursday. They are at home for a 4-game stretch with the Reds, and then they are at home with a 3-game stretch with the Nationals before taking on the Padres and Dodgers right out of the gates. Do the Braves. Today, the Braves lineup will look like this. Ozzie Albies will lead off. Matt Olson will bat second. Austin Riley, Marcell Ozuna, Adam Duvall, Eddie Rosario, Travis d'Arnaud, Dansby Swanson, and William Contreras is your DH. The feeling is this will be the lineup against left-handed pitchers until Ronald Acuna Jr. returns.
Yep, and so that's his return probably not going to be until May or June. Before they let him start going full bore. They're going to be careful with Ronald Acuna, who could be as good as any player in Major League Baseball as a 5-tool guy, but the Braves win it all without him last year after he goes down with an ACL injury. So going to be interesting because it looks like Adam Duvall will play center. But he did that a lot last year in the playoffs, so he can do that. He can play all 3 outfield spots. He's an above-average Major League outfielder. We'll try to get Bill Shanks on this week to give his final thoughts on spring training and where the Braves stand. But certainly the Braves, I've noticed that they have been some people's pick to return to the World Series. I've even seen, I want to say Buster Olney, picking Toronto to beat the Braves in the World Series, so we will see.
Spring training means absolutely nothing.
Correct.
They're 6-7 so far in spring training. Spring training does not mean a thing. Houston, Toronto 8-5 in the spring. Boston 10-7. So don't read too much into those spring training results. But Major League Baseball underway this week. The Masters underway this week as well. So this is a great week. Great week for sports. And you got the national championship game tonight.
Yep, absolutely. We want to thank Deshaun Tate for joining us once again, Travis Ryer, and our callers. Everybody enjoy the national championship game tonight. I've got Kansas 80-76. Should be a great game, but another NCAA tournament going to conclude tonight.
All right. The SEC not involved. So
it was a flop.
All right. See you tomorrow.